where someone close to you wasn't very nice or broke your trust? Try to recall the situation. Was it easy for you to forgive them? Today, I would like to talk to you about how to forgive more effectively. I found a quote on Psychology Today's website that I would like to share with you all. Ezra, can you read it for me, please?
Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future.
Thank you. So stand up if the person that hurt you asked you to forgive them. Now sit down if you actually forgave them. Thank you. So as I was researching this topic, I tried to analyze my past experiences with forgiveness. I can clearly recall when my friend and I went to the zoo. I was sitting on the edge of a fountain and I fell in because she gave me a little shove to try to scare me, and I fell in, I scraped my legs, and I damaged my new phone. This was 6 years ago, and I have not talked to her since. I now realize that there could have been a different approach to maintaining our friendship. So there are two main questions that I would like to talk to you guys about today. Number one, what is forgiveness? And Trinity, can you read number 2, please?
How can we use forgiveness?
Thank you. So, before we can start talking about forgiveness, we must know how it is defined. Voss, in her Encyclopedia of Social Psychology, defines forgiveness as the act of decreasing negative feelings towards someone that has hurt or offended the self. There are costs and benefits to forgiveness. Siassi, in her book, Forgiveness in Intimate Relationships, says that the ego is the one that decides whether or not to forgive the other person. It is difficult in itself to believe that someone is genuinely sorry or that they will not hurt you again. This falls into the pattern of exploitation. When you continue to forgive someone and they repeatedly hurt you emotionally or physically, then you fall into an unhealthy pattern. It is important to know when to forgive, but then when to stay away. Imagine the scenario with me, if you will. Your buddy asks you to borrow his car. You say yes, and then when your buddy returns, there's a dent in your car. You get angry, and then you forgive them. But then your buddy asks you to borrow the car again. It's okay to say no. It's possible to truly forgive someone, but then want to stay away from repeating that risky behavior. Voss then continues to state that the benefits, though, outweigh these costs. When you forgive someone, you can heal relationships. Forgiving someone helps you free yourself of the burdens of resentment, bitterness, and hatred. You can then replace negative energy with positive energy known as love. What makes me more eager to forgive someone now is being able to look at both situations and both sides of the story. Because I've been on the other side where I've offended someone and my friends have forgiven me. So I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. On to our next question. How is forgiveness used? Menninger brings awareness to the 5 stages of forgiveness. Number 1, claiming the hurt. Cheyenne, can you read number 2?
Heal.
Tamia, can you read number 3? And Andy, can you read number 4? Thank you. So, and the last one, wholeness. When you claim the hurt, you accept that this is your pain. It is sometimes hard for people to do this because they want to pretend like their feelings weren't actually hurt and that they're tough enough to get through this. But it's important to know how you're feeling and when someone has actually hurt you. Next is guilt. Sometimes people ask themselves, what did I do to deserve this? Or what could I have done differently? But it's important to know that it wasn't your fault. Victim. Now you know that it is your pain and it isn't your fault, so you look for comfort and support. Anger. This is a positive anger. It's when you tell yourself, I can move forward, I am not helpless, I am not hopeless, and this will not happen to me again. So you're ready to move on. Then you get to the final stage, wholeness. You're ready to forgive. You're ready to do positive things with your life. So a show of hands, how many of you guys had thought of there even being a process to forgiveness? Thank you. Not many of you, but neither did I until I started researching this topic. Now that we know the stages, let me give you guys some tips. McNaughton, in his book titled Forgiveness, states that you have not genuinely forgiven someone if you're still holding a grudge, if you bring up their wrongdoings in conversation, or if you want revenge. It is easier for more agreeable people than people that feel entitled to forgive. So the friendlier you are, the more eager you are to forgive. Then Kelly, in his book, Communicating Forgiveness, provides 3 techniques as to how to forgive. Number 1, direct. This is when you confront your offender in mutual safety and respect and say to them, I forgive you. Ethan, can you read indirect?
Go back to normal or say it was no big deal.
Thank you. Yes, so in this case, you kind of brush it off and pretend like nothing really happened. Then your offender knows that you're over it and you guys can move forward. Then conditional, for example, you would say, I will forgive you if you buy me food. Okay, so let's do a little activity. Christian and Jalen, can you guys come up here, please?
Come over here.
It's in the middle. All right, here's the situation. Jalen, your buddy Christian stole your pumpkin, and he's going to apologize and give it back, and you need to exhibit one of the 3 techniques.
I'm sorry. Here's your pumpkin back. I forgive you if you buy me food.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's recap. What were the 2 main questions we talked about today?
What is forgiveness and how can we do it?
Thank you. Professor, name one of the stages of forgiveness. Anyone else remember one of the stages of forgiveness? Anger.
Guilt.
Thank you. Okay, and does forgiveness involve forgetting and ignoring your offender's wrongdoing?
No.
No, correct. You don't forget or ignore. You fully acknowledge and you still overcome this and want happiness for them when you forgive them. Remember how Paul Boise said that forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future? When we forgive our friends, we can rebuild, and mend relationships that can continue to grow in the future. And by using these skills, we can be more eager to forgive and avoid being someone that is not open to forgiveness. And maybe we can even be someone that seeks forgiveness like this.
It was me. I stole your Christmas. I stole it because I thought it would fix something that happened a long time ago. But it didn't. And I'm sorry.